March 27th, 2022. And again, being that March 27th, 1999, before the attempted murder that I survived, just on a wedding date of the first under 6 foot problem American, had I not gotten out of that disparaging whatever, today might have marked an anniversary of some sort, not one that I ever celebrate, but I'm watching Kodak, Cypher, whatever, in Jaeger, and how it ties into this humanness and my appearance. So, there's a scene at the end where the gigantic monster alien UFO that was birthed, which could have been my symbolic whatever, they thought my future, they thought they killed it, like the monster and the beast, but lo and behold, they went to go search for a brain pattern and to extract the brain, and it was pregnant. And then all of a sudden, there's a guy standing there. He, by the way, played Hellboy in a different movie I really did not symbolically pick apart. And in this movie, he's got a gold tip shoe. Oh, the guy with the gold tips. Yeah, him. So he's got a giant scar on his real face, and he's got a knife, and the baby comes out of the womb. The mother's dead. I can only imagine that would be Benjamin's future in 1999. And then they even take the gold tipped shoe guy, his knife, even with the scar on his face, and they hit the baby in the nose. Ben's got one of the most ugly noses I've ever seen on a Nazi. No, meaning multiple noses, right? As Bizietica, don't want to get like, whatever with Soviet, but whatever. Or an American. Multifaceted, whatever, and we're not all neurologically wired the same. So that ties in what's going on here. Then it fast forward to a Jaeger conversation with a dark-skinned gentleman who, when the program started, he claims he did not know how radiologically exposed he would be in the field under the program that came before. Again, don't know if that's an admission, kind of sort of in a whatever, in a JAG kind of way. Let's be honest, we'll just call it a JAG, J-A-G, for the Jaguar priestess of Myanmar. What? No, Mayan calendar is somewhere in there on Gears of War. But here we are. This is what it looks like. For like these symbolic gestures that mean something to someone somewhere. And the nose and the knife in the nose is better than a punch on the nose. Yeah, right, okay. But it had a cord wrapped around its neck. Yeah, so did Benjamin. And he's Jason Bourne. It's Benjamin Jason Bourne. So, I mean, again, and I hear Matt Damon's around Ben's height, so.
I knew it. Gone. As long as we weren't fully formed. Umbilical cord tied around his neck. No way you can survive outside the womb for more than a minute.
Oh, there's the guy with the gold tip shoes. Is he like your medical field operator, like medical officer? Because he lied. Ben was born with the cord. He was blue. They resuscitated him. He had momentary brain whatever, but he survived and he thrived.
One look. That's all I needed. I knew he wouldn't make it.
He does have a dual role, though, with the Jaeger being the mom and gypsy, and got gypped at gypsum instead of red lines and tan lines.
Anyway, all right.
Now, is that like the absorption of the bad leadership and management of everything that came before you that now the next gen inherits? I mean, like, come on already. Desachers? Now watch this. This guy's hurting. But I hear today on Sunday morning something about a free radio Europe or Radio Free Europe. I also saw them on some satellite view watching the Ukraine thing. They were image capture and then recapture out to the news media and outlets. I thought it was what the bombardment was over was to wipe out the airway frequency senders and receivers or transmissions, but apparently when I sat down to, because it said radio free, I thought they were freeing themselves from radiological constraints, but when I sat down it was a much more, it was a different neurological path that they went down to explain it as just how deep-seated and rooted is this, what do they think they're fighting for or over.
Are you? Why didn't you tell me?
What's to tell? You know, them Mark ones, we scraped them bad boys together in 14 months.
Mach ones? It's an airplane. Well, I know Jaeger was the first one to break the sound barrier. When Jay and Sarah came, he was inquisitive, Quizlet about that. I didn't know at the time. More his forte than mine.
First thing we were thinking about was radiation shielding.
Radiation shielding. You mean from the overproduction of radio shows, radio waves, podcasts, movies, their transmission, since now they don't come on large 35 millimeter roll, they're just magically woven in to the matrix and magically appear when you pull some universal whatever. That's some really scary intertwine.
I stayed under the medical radar for a while, but the last time I jockeyed was Tokyo.
Last time he jockeyed was Tokyo. Tried to stay under the medical, is it guidelines? It gets a little confusing.
I finished the fight solo, but for 3 hours. I burned. They warned me if I ever stepped foot into a Jaeger again, the toll would be too much.
Oh, so that he was warned. Because at the end of the movie, he gets back in again.
You and I are the only two that ever ran solo combat. That's why I brought you here. What is it?
Sir, it's happening. I just got 2 signatures, but unprecedented dilation. 40-meter spikes.
Okay.
Now, he was warned never to get into a Jaeger again. How was he contracted then to be in charge of the Jaeger division? Just curious. So if you're not allowed to perform in a Jaeger, as a gypsum or whatever, or gypsy, or gyp, then how do they put you actually in charge of other non-genealogical, like, units? I just, again, logically as a human, trying to protect my genetic and Mount Rushmore at the moment from real sportsmanship and champions everywhere else other than in my direct line of sight. I'm just curious how in rules and guidelines at Mission Control, how could a past Jaeger who was warned ever be able to lead or be in charge of information leading to Jaeger information the way that they're run, or he could be in charge of, I mean, like, it just doesn't sound like a good strategy. So it just seems like there's something not adding up at that. Like, where did we lose a thread of or shred of hope? I'm thinking that's a good place to look. I mean, if things get out of hand.
Category.
Checking the ratios, category 4.
Where they headed?
That's the thing, they're not heading anywhere. They're hovering just above the breach. It's like they're protecting it or something.
All right, Gypsy. Strike.
Why are they reporting to him? If you've already been found, like, and warned, and you're not allowed in, and then, it's just, what are we growing? In someone else's garden during a den napping, I mean, of, like, their tremendous proportions, where they're coming in and trying to take somebody else's homeland, not just, he's just one figure, but for, like, a larger scale, getting gypped in some dangerous stuff scenario.
Striker on deck.
Sir, Bert cannot ride. His arm.
You heard me.
2 signatures. 2? There are 2. Got 2 signatures in the breach, not 3 like I predicted.
Perfect! I haven't exactly had a very good day, okay? I got about 5 minutes.
Should be 3.
The front range aftercare here. I don't want to spend it talking about your theories.
It's all wrong. There should be 3 kaijus coming through, not 2.
Oh, there should be 3. There's 2.
Yeah, there 3, I suppose, at this, already the gold tip man with the knife in the nose of the beast's child, showing that it was not aborted mission the way that it was needed. It was further perpetuated in the wrong. So that means that there's still some management issues with real sports and guidelines and trade lines and sportsmanship following the whatever, and then the things that fall through the cracks, and how is Mission Control handling that I'm still a Mount Rushmore kid in this area, but I'm deficient of having access to Eric Thomas Jefferson on a daily basis, since he seems to be on one of the papers at Rock, Paper, Scissors, and I'm doing this all by myself, and I am less than 6 foot, but I know there's a Nephilim somewhere, perhaps, that might know something.
Here, I'm sorry.
In Untapped Superheroes.
Hero, no,
I'm not wrong, but there is something here that we don't understand.
Okay, perfect. Hopefully we can argue about any mistakes you made in your predictive model in the future. But in the meantime, the neural interface is way off the charts. If you want to help with that.
Newton, I am not wrong. There is only one way to make sure. And that is...
I did see, by the way, a physiology expert about some transgender thing with the pool, and I'm like, I'm not even touching that with a 10-foot pole. But, and he said there's outliners or outlayers, or sometimes there's something that falls outside the scope of the control and the study. So, it's studio and then study. the study of the life science cycle of a human, where God being Dio et studio, and the study at die. When you stew on this, they're dying. Yeah, that's a problem. That radiological whatever.
Managed to do this together. I'll go with you. That's what the Jaeger pilots do. Share the neural load.
You're serious? You would do that for me? Or you would do that with me?
Well, with worldwide destruction, a certain alternative. Do I really have a choice?
Let's say it with me, my man. We're gonna own this bad boy.
By Jove, we are going to own this thing for sure.
Alright, so it's star 1978, star 8378. Nicole, Cattaruzza. It is Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxies, Broken. At Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.